Thank you, Kelly. Kristen says she's coming, and Karen is planning to be here too. So I'm going to do, well, just share just a little bit if you're on Kelly already, and the others can listen in as they're here. There was something the other day, or yesterday, that I remembered from when I had a sore back, and it uses a bolster. I don't know that you have a bolster, but if you do, sit against the wall with your feet against the wall, and then the cushion, the bolster, comes right below the navel, and you kind of push against that while you do, say, a forward fold, and maybe the hands would come up here as you push, and then there's some blocks underneath here in order to have a relaxed forward fold, for example, or you can do Jani Shirshasana and other different poses. But what I find is that this helps to bring the Uddiyana Bandha up without so much muscle effort. And eventually I realized that Uddiyana Bandha, the idea of that hollow stomach, ends up being less about how much muscle you put into it and more about just the shape of the body and getting the body used to a better alignment. So that, I don't know, that can be a really comforting thing while you're healing your low back. Of course, the legs up the wall and doing the various poses with the legs on the wall, we've done that before. But this is a little bit different and comforting. Let me see if I can set it up so that the camera can see it. Oh, and so from doing that yesterday, here's some really personal information about the inside of me. Energetically, I have what I'm going to call a blank spot right here. It's to the right of my navel, and like if I do sit-ups or some kind of ab work, it's like it just doesn't wake up. I have more on my left side, but not on my right side. And so I end up visually having more, like it's less toned on this side than on that side. And after I did this yesterday, I realized that kind of holding that in without my muscles holding it in was useful. So I put on a belt with so it's like you know, the kind that you weave in out of I don't even know what the word is for it in English, but I have that right about at that blank spot, and it helps me to maintain that posture. And I wore it for several hours yesterday, and it's just not even thinking about it, so that my body can adjust to that new place of alignment. I'm looking at my 12-year-old daughter, and I'm seeing this hump develop on her back a little bit because she's not standing up. I don't know, I think teenagers that are growing, that's pretty standard for a lot of them. But I thought, nobody ever told me, nobody ever showed me, I had no idea how to help my body to be in good alignment. And that is part of the reason why I ended up with fibromyalgia. I felt sore and tired everywhere in my muscles for years. And part of that was because I just didn't know how to get myself into alignment. So just really quick, again, I think I'll do it this way. Imagine that the wall is over here, and it may take one or two of the blocks underneath. So the cushion is right against, this bolster is right against my low belly, trying to get even underneath the navel or at the navel. And then, depending on how much of a forward fold you have, your blocks might be up higher, medium, or low. I'm just going to put it on high for right now. And I'm going to do two of them so that there's support. And then just pushing that into the belly and then coming into a passive forward fold and actually relaxing in this position. There's often a strap at the top, and you can put your hands there or your thumbs there to kind of hold it into place, and then just relax into that. So I can feel this gentle stretch in my low back, my glutes, you know, it's where my body needs it, and that's where I feel it. For somebody else, this may not feel like anything at all. So if it doesn't have any stretch in the hamstrings or anything, then you can turn your block so that it's lower, and so you have further to stretch. Again, pushing this into the low belly as you relax forward. My hands are just here to hold it in place. And you just hold it and breathe for even several minutes. And I'm holding it because it feels really good on a muscle that I'm doing a warm-up for my sun salutes. So hopefully that might be helpful to anybody that's watching today as one option. I'm going to set those to the side now. And let's just come to the top of our mat and begin our practice, our sun salutes, our very mindful sun salutes. What makes a sun salute mindful? For me, it is that same concentration or focus on lifting the Uddiyana Bandha in every pose. So on my forward fold, I don't just let it go forward, but I'm actually, my hands are down, but I'm lifting away from the floor in this area. Same with the downward facing dog. There's a lift in this whole area while the heels go down. Not forgetting, right, to keep those elbows in order to keep the shoulders, the collarbones wide. So sun salute, every pose, really, you're trying to find that. So there are two ways to advance in your practice. One is to learn a new pose, and the other is to refine the poses that you already have. Most of our time is spent on the refinement and just the repetition of what we already know. And we open up very slowly to the next poses, especially once we get to Navasana, or that boat pose. From there forward, it's good to kind of open up bit by bit, not stop, but keep on trying. So if Karen's on Bhujipadasana, keep on working on that one, where the legs come around the arms into that arm balance at the end. So I don't know how far we'll go today. Maybe we'll get to Navasana and Bhujipadasana, but do whatever is right for you, and bring your feet together, feel them on the mat, bring length through your spine, up through the back of the crown, wideness in collarbones, bringing your attention to the center of your body. Your hands come towards the center. Your legs rotate internally towards the center, and also the grounding. Notice that as there is a feeling of stretch away from the floor, there's always a stretch towards the floor as well. This creates a proper tone in the entire body. So grounding, but with length. And breathing. Exhale your air, then inhale for Om. Hands to thighs, Yekam inhale. Dway. exhale. Trini, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Lifting the Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale, Pancha. Still lifting. Exhale, 5 breaths. So here, the lifting just feels to me like the tailbone lifting towards the ceiling, which is a tendency to bring the heels up. So then we lower the heels again, and there's a stretch, that up and down stretch through the legs here. There's a tendency to lock the knees here, so there's a slight bend in the knees, and you can kind of feel the energy go into the legs with more smoothness when that very subtle bend is there. You probably wouldn't even see that bend. And 5, inhale, come forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, stand. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look up. Shoulders back. Keep the gaze up while you step back. Your low plank might just be knees down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, 5 breaths. Again, trying to get that lift in the tail and the heels towards the ground, and unlock the knees if they have locked. One more breath. Notice the arms. 5. Come forward. Lift as you come forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, come up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Lift in that transition. So cueing your arms, bringing the elbows towards each other, which brings the shoulders away from the ears. Feeling that rotation towards the thumb and first finger that counterbalances the upper arm bone. One more breath. Come forward on an inhale. Lift as you come forward. Exhale there. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Again, inhale. Exhale. Lifting here. Inhale. Continue to lift even as you step back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One. Two. Smooth breath. Circular breath. 3. 4. 5. Inhale forward. Lift as you come forward from the waist. Exhale the head down. Keep that lift there. Inhale, come up. And exhale, Samasthiti. My cueing for lifting, continue, is called Uddiyana Bandha. So I'm just trying to describe it in a way that you can access it through your entire practice. So right here is that lift. It's the Uddiyana Bandha. It leaves room for the shoulders to kind of come back especially once you are warmed up. 2 more breaths. Inhale, come forward, lift at the waist. You might want to jump. Exhale the head down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Surya Namaskar, bend the knees. Exhale. Inhale, look up. Keep the gaze up, the shoulders wide while you step back. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as you step forward, really lift at the waist. And inhale up. Exhale down. Lifting at the waist in that transition. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then stepping forward again with that lift, it lifts the legs from the waist. Inhale up, like stepping forward leg. Exhale down. Now lift again from the waist as you bring the foot down, back. And pancha. Shut. 5 breaths. 1. Still feeling that lift at the waist. 2. Another way to cue it is lifting the tailbone, but then releasing the knee so that it's not locked. Last breath. Inhale forward, lift at the waist as you come forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, bend the knees as you come up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Again, bend the knees. Exhale. Inhale, gaze up. Keep the gaze up as you step back, lifting at the waist the whole time here. Baby cat back is a way that I cue that sometimes. So lifting as you bring the foot forward. Lifting as you bring the foot back. Lifting again, forward with the foot. And lifting again as you bring the foot back. Downward facing dog, 5 breaths. 1. Smooth breath through the nose. 2. 3. 4. 5. Lift as you come forward. Exhale the head down. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, Samasthiti. Bend the knees, come up. Exhale. Inhale, look up, gaze up. Exhale, lift as you step back. Baby cat back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift as you step forward. Inhale up. Exhale down. Lift as you step back. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift as you step forward again with the lift. Inhale up. Exhale, hands down. Lift at the waist as you step back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. 1. 2. Don't forget to do the arms. Cue yourself. 3. 4. 5. Lift as you come forward on the inhale. Exhale the head Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, Samastitihi. Let's go to Padangusthasana. Feet hip distance apart. Lift up out of the pelvis. Come forward. Still feel that lift at Uddiyana Bandha. Shoulder blades towards the spine, away from the ears. Weight forward in the foot, toward the ball of the foot. Ribs close to the thighs. 5, inhale, look up, change the hand position. Inhale again, straight, and exhale the head down. Again, lift that tail, or lift the waist, however you want to think about it. If your knees are locked, you bend them slightly. If your hamstrings are not open, your knees might be quite bent. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose with the hands on the waist. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi, stepping out to the right, Utthita Trikonasana. Push the feet into the ground, and this lifts the Uddiyana Bandha away from the ground. Lengthen the spine. Inhale as you come up. Change to the second side. Five, inhale, lift up. Reversed triangle, Parvarita Trikonasana. The right arm is twisting away, so the upper body is twisting away, but the hip on the right is twisting, not twisting, but coming forward, resisting the twist. 5, inhale, come up. Exhale, second side. So the result is that the hip bones are trying to be somewhat parallel to the front of the mat. Five, inhale, come up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Parsvakonasana. Stepping out with a lunge, wider than triangle. Hands can go to the ground or elbow on towards the knee. Five, inhale, come up. Second side. See if you can tell where Uddiyana Bandha is here. Five, inhale, come up. Reverse. Whatever version feels good for you today. So lengthening the spine helps you to access Uddiyana Bandha. And 5, inhale up. Second side. So again, lengthening the spine with the twist. The left hip is coming forward, resisting the twist, or just the other end of the twist. And 5, inhale, come up. Exhale, Samasthiti, top of the mat. Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. Inhale, up out of the pelvis, maybe even lift the ribs with your hands. Exhale, forward. So again, that lifting action from the waist, or you think about the tailbone being towards the ceiling. That's lifted, but the legs are grounded, the feet are grounded. Shoulder blades still working towards the spine. Last breath. Inhale, come part way up, straighten the arms, exhale there. Inhale, come all the way up, exhale the hands down. Inhale, tee out the arms, exhale, bring the hands back to the waist or up by the ribs, really open the chest. As you inhale, then exhale forward, keeping that chest open, keeping the shoulder blades working towards the spine. All the while lifting Uddiyana Bandha toward the ceiling. And 5, inhale all the way up. Exhale the hands down. Inhale, tee out the arms. Exhale, interlace the fingers, rolling the shoulders back. Inhale out of the pelvis, and exhale coming forward. Still thinking about that lift through the waist, navel, however you think about it and makes sense to you. And 5, inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the hands there. Inhale up out of the pelvis. Exhale, come forward, take the toes. Back to thinking about Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale, straight spine. Exhale, the head down. And the tail, the Uddiyana Bandha, toward the ceiling. Inhaling and exhaling. Shoulder blades toward the spine. Neck and jaw are released as we continue to breathe. And 5, inhale, come halfway up, straighten the arms, exhale there. Inhale, hands to the waist as you stand and take your place at the top of the mat. Bringing your hands in reverse prayer, or just taking your elbows, stepping out only part way, even shorter than triangle. And exhale, Parsvottanasana. Or Purvottanasana, sorry guys. There's still this hollowness in this pose, this lifting that we're talking about. Try to find it in this pose as well. Inhale, come up. Second side. Exhale down. So this lifting is creating that hollow feeling at the waist. This can take a while. If this is not making any sense, don't worry about it. 5, inhale, come up. Exhale, Samasthiti, top of the mat. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So you might go to the wall, you might bend the knee, you might straighten the knee, whatever is right for you today. I'm going to go back to the wall. My balance doesn't feel right on today. Would rather not fall. It's not about how far your leg is as much as how straight your spine is. And there's a lifting of the Uddiyana Bandha here, and a grounding with your foot. Open up to the side. Lifting the sternum. And 5, inhale forward, bring the leg forward, release the hand. 5, second side. 5, open up to the side. Sternum still high, grounding in the foot. 5, inhale forward, release the foot. You can point, or flex your foot. And 5, Ardha Baddha. We're going to bring the right foot up across the left thigh. You can do a forward fold if you want, or just try to stand in this position, either holding your hand behind or just holding your hands out to the side, and see if you can balance. Pushing the foot against the thigh against the foot. Trying to find that length in the spine still. Grounding in the foot. Sternum high if you're standing. And if you're down, we'll call that 5, and you can inhale, come up. And exhale, we can release the foot. Second side. Last breath. And 5, foot down. We're doing a vinyasa going into Utkatasana. Both feet come straight forward and straight into our chair pose. Stand and then put the hands on the ground. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back or float back. And Virabhadrasana A. Warriors. Stepping forward in the lunge. Lifting up out of the pelvis. That's the Uddiyana Bandha. Now keep that lift going as you rotate on your feet, looking at your thumbs to the second side. And 5, inhale, open up to your warrior B, Virabhadrasana B. Watch the traps, try to release the traps Engage the pecs instead. Gaze over the left middle finger, bending the knee maybe just a little bit more. Now inhale, stand, switch to the second side. Five, windmill of hands down, frame the front foot, step back, high plank to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and come through to sit, Dandasana. And five, inhale, look up. Really lift up out of the pelvis to do your forward fold. Maybe tucking the bottom roll, extra roll. Shoulder blades coming towards the spine. Ribs towards the thighs. If the hamstrings are too tight, then you can bend the knees. Five, inhale, look up. Change your hand position or repeat the same one. Inhale again, exhale down. Think baby cat back with the low back and upward facing dog with the upper back. It's that combination to have a straight spine here. And five, inhale, look up. You can change the hand position or repeat the same one. And exhale again. Count your 5 breaths. Five, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Let's do a vinyasa here before we do Purvottanasana. Or Parshvottanasana. Alright, reverse plank. Opening up the chest by bringing the hands, foot behind you. Really open, and maybe this is as far as you go, and really open up the chest. Or you can go all the way up, lifting the hips. I'm going to work on my chest today. The elbows working towards each other. And five, exhale, cross the ankles, round the back, and roll into lift and step back. Coming back to seated again, Ardha Baddha Paschimottanasana. Bring the right foot over the thigh. If that's in your practice, you might not go that far. That's okay. If you have a bind, take it. If you don't, just do what you can. And forward fold if you're ready to go that far. The toe could be your jerski here. Keeping the chest high. Don't let your back collapse. 4 and 5. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Just lift for your vinyasa. And let's do the second side. Now, as you breathe, some days you can get the this bind. Some days you'll lose it. Sometimes, like I did several weeks ago, there's some kind of injury to the knee, and what I could do before, I couldn't do for a while, and then it comes back. That's normal. That's yoga. That's life. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Cross the ankles, round the back, lift up off of the ground, step back. And come through to sit. Taking your right leg and bringing the heel back so that we are in Trianj Ekapada Paschimottanasana. Lift up out of the pelvis. This might be all you have, or you might have a forward fold. The hands might come all the way forward. Your hands might be out to the side like pontoons, holding you into the position to keep your hips on the ground. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose, lifting for our vinyasa in between, and the second side. My second side on this pose is not as open with my hip on the ground, so I don't go as far yet. Trying to work that hip towards the ground with the bent leg. Last breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose, tuck your foot back, roll forward into a vinyasa. And come through to sit. Janushirshasana A, bringing the sole of the foot, pushing against the thigh against the sole of the foot, lifting up out of the pelvis and then forward, trying to lift that Uddiyana Bandha in this position. Again, you may not go too far forward. You don't want to compromise your back being straight for what looks like a more forward position. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose, lifting between poses. Second side. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose, vinyasa. Let's skip Janushirshasana B and go to Janushirshasana C, which is the toes down, the heels up. Now you might just be working on your foot and getting that foot in position. You might not have a forward fold on this yet. Just work at your spot, wherever you are. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Lift, and the second side. Toes down, heel up. If this is pretty easy for you, you can kind of scoot your body in towards the heel. The heel will eventually be kind of pushing against your low belly. release the pose, cross at the ankles, round the back, lift off of the ground, and you can step back into your chaturanga. Marichyasana A. Bending the right knee, sole of the foot on the ground, space between the leg and the foot. Bringing your hands forward into kind of a breaststroke swimming position as you bring your hands back. If you have the bind, great. If not, you could use a towel or just do the best you can to come forward, or just sit tall and hold your knee. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Just a lift. We're going straight to the second side, or you could do a full vinyasa. And 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Cross at the ankles, round the back, lift off of the ground, step back to your vinyasa. Coming forward for, let's do Marichyasana C. We'll skip the B version. Foot is close to the leg this time, turning towards the bent knee. Arm could go past the knee or just hug the knee, and it's a twist. Look towards your right shoulder. Lifting the sternum, twisting a little bit more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist some more. Last breath. And 5, inhale, look forward. Exhale, release the pose. Lift and do the second side. You might just hug the knee like I'm doing today. It might go over and past the knee, and you might have the bind. So lifting as you inhale, twisting the exhale. Lifting the sternum and twisting. Keeping the hip from going with the twist. So the navel is going towards the right. And 5, inhale, look forward. Exhale, release that pose. Round the back as you lift off of the ground, and then step back into your vinyasa. Let's do Navasana. This is the first option, toes touching, sitting tall, breathing. And 5, cross at the ankles, lift, go back down. Number 2, maybe the toes are off of the ground, maybe the legs are straight. Way out, way up. But don't compromise your low back and the straightness of your back to get your feet up higher. And 5, cross the opposite direction if you can, lift. And number 3. Five, cross the ankles, lift. Number 4. Cross the ankles again, lift. Last one. And 5, round the back, lift off the ground, step back, chaturanga. All right, let's play with Bhujipadasana. Bringing the feet on the outside. Now, you might just be doing something completely different, like butterfly is a good one to prepare for this. If you have the flexibility and the feet can go on the outside of the hands, then the thumb and the first finger frame the back of the heel. Then you can wiggle your shoulders underneath. My hands move a little bit closer together as I do that. And round cat back. Oh, I don't have that today. Let's try again. Lifting the cat back, trying to bring the feet together. Or you could be in Baddha Konasana right now, which is just the soles of the feet together and opening up into butterfly. And 5, you bring your legs out, round, stepping back, chaturanga. And let's do our bridge prep. Using my blocks, putting a block between my feet, a block between my knees. The long edge of the block is parallel to my shin bones. Now releasing the back, bring the back flat on the ground. So this ends up being like a cat back. The Uddiyana Bandha is formed by the low ribs and the iliac crest coming closer together. So that's inhale, exhale there. Now inhale, lift the hips while you squeeze the block between your knees. Try not to allow tension into the jaw and the neck. Just squeeze and breathe. Squeeze a little harder. And exhale, release. Inhale again, make sure that you have that tail tucked. Then inhale, bring hips off of the ground, really squeeze the knees together. Release the neck. There's a hollowness in the stomach or in the belly here as you squeeze, squeeze. There should be a releasing of the glutes, internal rotation of the thighs. Exhale there. Just let that rest, release a little bit, maybe a little bit of a wiggle. One more time. Tailbone towards the back of the knees. Exhale there. Inhale, bring it up. Squeeze the knees. Release the glutes. Internal rotation. You could add pushing the feet away from your body, like you're trying to push the mat away. But don't stop squeezing the knees as you do that. 4. Squeeze one more time. And 5. And release that. Set the blocks to the side. Bring the knees up to the chest. Feel that stretch. Breathing here just a moment. And then rock and roll up to a forward fold position. So same thing as we did earlier, lifting up out of the pelvis. And this is 10 counts. See if the ribs are close to the thighs. If not, then you might be rounding your back. Last breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Cross at the ankles, round the back, go forward, push up, and then step back. Shoulder stand or legs up the wall. Five more breaths. Last breath. Now if you'd like to bring your feet back into Halasana, toenails towards the mat, in other words, a pointed toe. The hands, if you have the flexibility and your toes are down, can be interlaced behind your back, or just keep a hold of your back. Best to err on the side of conservative. And 8. Bend the knees so that they're touching the forehead, the sides of the forehead, or down to the ears. And 8. Inhale, bring the legs back up into shoulder stand, and then into Padmasana or Baddha Konasana, the butterfly, or half lotus, whatever sounds right for you today. You could have your hands on the back the whole time, or if you know the position of putting your hands on your knees, you can do that. Eight, bring your knees towards your face or your chest. And 8, rolling down carefully. Go into Matsyasana. If you have your lotus, you can keep your lotus, or your legs can just be straight. Lean back onto your elbows. Raise your chest up. Maybe wiggle your elbows further away. See if you can get the top of your head down on the mat, or just that direction. Lifting the sternum, lifting the whole time at the sternum. Matsyasana, or fish pose. Now, if your head is back, before you come out of this pose, always lift the head off of the mat, lower the chin a little bit, and then release. You can actually stay in that arch position for Uttanapadasana, or you can just come out of position. Uttanapadasana, hands, arms at a 45-degree angle, feet at a 45-degree angle if your low back is feeling okay. Otherwise, you can just do your hands, or just, there's still an energy in your abs, even if you're not lifting. your feet. That energy comes from Uddiyana Bandha, bringing the ribs and the iliac crest together. This is 10 counts. Let's call that 8, 9, 10. Release the pose. Vinyasa, just roll onto your side. And we'll do headstand or headstand prep. Next. So from your downward facing dog, just bring your knees onto the mat and then your elbows onto the mat. Make a basket with your interlaced fingers where your head can go down, or just keep your head off of the mat while you push your elbows and your forearms into the mat. Lifting Uddiyana Bandha, so this is like a cat back, lifting up as you're pushing down the elbows and forearms. Trying to release tension from the neck. If you feel like you can do the next step, then you bring the knees off of the ground into what's called dolphin pose, but still lifting Uddiyana Bandha, lifting that navel towards the spine. And you want to be able to do up to 50 breaths in this position. That way you know you're strong enough to do headstand. If you start doing headstand before you're really strong enough, you get a pretty sore neck. I've done that plenty. And when you've had enough, you just lower your knees and go into child's pose. Release your neck. If I were there, I would come and give you a little adjustment to make sure your neck is released. And 10. Inhale, look up. Release the pose, vinyasa. And our final 3 poses, starting with Yoga Mudra. Eyes can be closed on this mudra. And look at that space between the eyes, the third eye, Shiva's Drishti. And this is either 8 or 10 counts. And that's 10. Inhale, come up. Seated meditation. Arms are straight, spine is straight, fingers are straight unless you have a couple of fingers that are doing a mudra. But then all of the other fingers are straight, the 3 fingers. Exhaling your air, inhaling slowly, and exhaling slowly. Inhale for 2. Eyes are open on this pose. Inhale for 3, looking down towards the mat. Inhale number 4. Inhale number 5. Inhale 6. Number 7. Eight. Inhale number 9. And then take your longest inhale and exhale on number 10. Release your elbows, sit just a moment, close your eyes, sit in silence. Gently open your eyes, Upitihi, lifting. Try to get 10 breaths or more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, more if you can, 11, 12. When you're ready, just exhale, come down. Do as many as you can of those. Round your back forward into your last vinyasa, and then Shavasana. To get yourself set up, really release and relax in your Shavasana. I'm going to let you take your own Shavasana today. Stay there as long as you can, as long as you feel relaxed, and then stay just a little bit longer. This is the discipline of the mind. If you find your mind wandering, just count your breaths, bring your mind back, release and relax. The Shavasana might feel almost like a sleep. You might actually fall asleep. And if you have had a true Shavasana, as you come out, you feel very relaxed and you feel rejuvenated. So work at making sure that you stay in your Shavasana long enough. If it's a really short one, you just don't have time to get there. So you're trying to go into that space between awake and asleep. That is a space of revelation. That is a space of communication with God. So really appreciate this pose, this godly, divine pose. As you relax into that, I'm going to leave my internal namaste to you, reminding you to come out slowly, mindfully, and thankfully at the end of your Shavasana.